A kind-hearted university teacher, desperate for promotion and recognition, successfully hatches an evil plan for ruthless drug lords, which backfires and claimed her life. This is the story of Dr. Mama. With another scientific paper just completed, Dr. Kimchi had a reason to celebrate with a cup full of orange juice. She strolled casually to the veranda of the duplex at the university staff quarters, where she lived. From this vantage point on the first floor, she had a somewhat clear view of the staff quarters at Mekana. To her right was Dr. Abuela's home, aka Dr. Mama, a very pretty 20-something years old geneticist with an extremely sensitive face and a secretive but motherly ways, who insisted on being called Dr. Abel because she didn't like being called Dr. Abuela, since Abuela meant mother, and kind-hearted Dr. Abel couldn't stop mothering everyone. The university staff had resorted to calling her Dr. Mama. After Dr. Mama's home, across a grassy field, sat Broderick's home, manager of the university's agricultural enterprises. To Kimchi's left was the lower end of Yuawam, the northern border of the waters, downwind, blowing down from the Mambila Plateau and across the staff quarters. She watched with genuine interest as Kwesi the drunkard forded the river as usual and walked briskly home for the night. Without checking her watch, she knew it would be 6:30 p.m. as Kwesi's movements, even when drunk, were as clockwork. She noted with delight that Kwesi had been sober for a couple of days now. Way to go, Kwesi. She held his progress silently in her mind. But Kwesi's progress had nothing to do with self-discipline. Kwesi had a new responsibility and interest no one knew. Some days ago, he had tooted home from a drinking spree, and fearing he might stumble off the low-border bridge, he had forded the river as usual with a bottle in his hand. The content had quickly become diluted with river water. The following morning, he received the greatest shock of his life when it fell out of the bottle he was emptying on a potted plant. It was about an inch tall, but the hair on its head was even longer, covering its entire purple body. If it had been human, it would have been called good-looking, but for the forehead and nose bridge that jutted out at an angle. After the initial shock, Kwesi turned the creature on its back, then on its face, to ascertain if it was dead or alive. Convinced it was still alive, Kwesi scooped it with a spoon and laid it carefully on a pile of servants and waited. "Hey, Broderick, what's up?" Kimchi called jovially as Broderick was walking out of Dr. Mama's house. Broderick simply pushed the air with his fist as he knocked the small gate to Mama's house on his way out. He made his way to Kimchi's gate and opened it. "Doc, how is it going?" He greeted Kimchi, looking up at her. "Everything is fine, Brody." She laughed as she was in a happy mood. "I see you went for a visit at Mama's," she said. Yes. I have not seen her for a couple of days, so I wondered," Broderick replied. "She requested fresh eggs from me and has not shown up to collect them. She buys a lot of eggs, doesn't she?" Kimchi made the question a statement. "It has to do with her research or something. She insists they must be as fresh as possible. They would," Broderick confirmed. "Well, I've not seen her around too," Kimchi said, wondering. "You mean she's not at home?" "No, she's not. I am beginning to get worried." Brody scratched his beard, looking across the well-full lawn to Mama's place. "You know, I've been checking on her for 3 days now, and the door is never locked, and everything in her house is undisturbed for 3 straight days. Maybe we should call her colleagues at the biotech department, Kimchi was saying. I've already done that. No one has seen her for about 5 days or so. Broderick looked up at her. You think we should call the authorities? Wait, I am coming downstairs. We will check her house together. Kimchi tied a rope, and together with Broderick, they marched into Mama's house. The only way to know if she has been around is to check the kitchen, Kimchi said. Have you checked her kitchen? No, I didn't go beyond the living room and dining room, Broderick replied. Kimchi marched into the kitchen and opened a pot. The smell of fermenting food hit her nose. One by one, all the pots on the gas cooker told the same story. Mama had not been home for days, possibly a week. Broderick! Kimchi's voice was low but alarmed. Doc! Broderick replied. Call the police, Kimchi said, as her eyes traced large muddy boot prints that exited Mama's back door. Broderick came into the kitchen as they made the phone call. I count about 5 of them, Kimchi said, catching Broderick's look. Broderick nodded. When the police arrived, word of their presence and the reason they came spread quickly. Mama had been kidnapped. Her home was cordoned off. Kimchi and Broderick were questioned, and soon police officers and a few canine personnel were off tracing the boot prints into the orchard behind Mama's house and along the river. The dreadful news of her decomposing body found 3 kilometers away from her home, but on the river bank was soon reported. She had been shot twice in the chest. A blue plastic bowl was found beside her. Broken eggshells were also found strewn around the decomposing body. There were 3 strange things about the creature Kwesi found. Its unusual face, which was angular and compound-eyed, its skin was dark purple in color, and its chest was built solid and segmented like grasshopper's thorax. Every other thing was human. It sat soberly in the Kleenex, looking away from Kwesi, this way and that way, with a quick jerky movement. What in the world are you? Kwesi asked and got no reply. The creature soon got up and wrapped itself in a tissue paper. Since there was no chance of its running away, Kwesi got up and found a clean cotton handkerchief and scissors. He soon had a rough dress cut out, which he presented to the creature. With thread, he soon had it fitted round it. With the spoon, he lowered the creature into a tall, transparent glass cup, and satisfied it was safe, he went out to find Dr. Mama. She would know what to do. Soon joined the crowd in front of Mama's house and learned of her death. He went back home, partly hoping the creature had somehow gone, but when he opened the door, there it was in the glass cup, with its head on its knees. He paused for a moment and gently put the cup on its side and supported it with wires of flint so it wouldn't roll off the table. Then he made a simple meal of boiled yams and plain fried eggs and ate. He offered the creature bits of the food and was surprised it ate. Although it was already late in the night, but undaunted by the deserted street, he went to Broderick's house and told him of his find. Broderick, who was still in shock about Mama's death, took him to the first academic that came to his mind, Kimchi, and soon the trio were in Kwesi's house, fascinated with the creature. Let's call it creatura, for the sake of calling it something, Kimchi whispered as the other men nodded their agreement. You say it eats egg and yam? That makes it an omnivore. The men nodded again. Don't tell anyone else about it for now, Kimchi cautioned. It's definitely Dr. Mama's creation, and we don't know what they killed her for. Leaving Wesley's home, Kimchi and Broderick were overwhelmed with various thoughts. It's definitely hatched from one of those eggs by the river bank, Broderick offered. Yes, Kimchi replied. You think there are more of them? Most likely. Yes, you are the academic. If you're thinking of best, I'd say no, Brody replied. It is intelligent, Kimchi said thoughtfully. Very intelligent. How can you know? Brody asked. I am a sociologist, Brody. That thing is human. It watches us intelligently, and is not afraid of us. It identifies with us in some way. They were standing in front of Mama's house now. It was still cordoned off. I wish I knew what Mama was thinking. Why would she create something like that? Broderick asked of no one. We have to search her house, Brody, Kimchi said. It's a crime scene. We can't afford to disturb anything there, replied Broderick. We will just go through her books and her papers, Kimchi urged. You know the police don't care about such things. She pulled Brody out of the way of a car driving slowly by. Kimchi put Brody under the caution tape, and they were soon in Mama's house, oblivious of the men watching them from the car. Kimchi removed her sandals and Brody followed suit. They didn't touch anything as they entered Mama's study. They switched on the table lamp, and Kimchi scanned the papers of Mama's desk, touching them only when she had to. Brody watched her with his hands folded across his chest. Flip through the books. Maybe you will find something, Kimchi instructed, and Brody obeyed. Nothing here, he replied. After a long period of silence, Kimchi suddenly exclaimed, Oh, Mama, why? What is it? Brody asked. We have to go with these papers. Kimchi swept the papers off the table into a paper bag, and we have to be fast. Yes, we have to leave now. Brody sounded afraid. Why? Kimchi looked up. There is something about the car prowling outside. Brody went to the window. You think the killers might have their eyes on her house? Oh my God, Kimchi replied wide-eyed. Yes, they definitely would. Then we have to go. No, wait. We have to find what they are looking for. You know what they are looking for? Brody asked. Her work. Kimchi quickly moved into the passage of Mama's house. Help me find it, she asked. What? Brody asked. An incubator, Kimchi replied, or a kind of housing for things like creatura. Quickly, she went from room to room, not minding that Brody didn't leave his position at the window. These guys out there are definitely dangerous, Brody whispered. They are at the gate and coming under the caution tape. Brody was alarmed. I found it, Brody. Oh my God, Kimchi whispered back as she rushed into the kitchen. She quickly returned to the room and deftly packed warm eggs and few creatures into a large blue bowl, the exact replica of the one found by Mama's body. Let's go, Brody hissed, with her sandals in one hand and the large brown envelope containing Mama's papers in the other. They made it out the back door, just as gun-wielding men entered silently through the front door. They ran through the orchard and along the river, the bow making progress, challenging. I know where we can keep the bow, and the men will not find it. Come! Broderick pulled her into the river, and together they shambled through the water to the upper part of the river. The bow was soon hidden in a hole by the river bank, behind thick steel roots. No sooner was the bow hidden, and they were shambling up the river, than gunshots rang out. They scrambled up the river bank and kept on running until they were exhausted. Then they walked as fast as they could to the police station. The following morning, armed escorts accompanied them to the university quarters and were stationed in front of Mama's house. Creatura was always eating, little portions but frequently. It soon learned new names and picked up words and would communicate by stringing words together. Creatura eats, it will say. You just finished eating not long ago, but never mind, you can have another helping, Kwesi would say. Broderick and Kimchi, having retrieved the bowl, quickly pieced Mama's story together as best as they could. Unable to get research grants from the university and the government, she had obtained grants from private persons. They had asked for something in return. She was to create a disposable means of transporting hard drugs across locations for them. So she manipulated genes and put them in eggs, and creatures like Creatura were hatched. Intelligent, fast-growing, but having a nice span of 3 months. Since they were impossible to find and their bodies were hollow, developing regenerative dragonfly wings, they were the perfect drug balls. The eggs took longer to hatch, but once they did, Kimchi and Broderick found themselves nurturing over 40 miniature humans. The university banned all talks about Mama's work, even though her papers were archived, but no further developments were made about her work. Kwesi was horrified and saddened when Creatura developed dragonfly-like wings. He had become fond of the creature, and the wings implied frailty and something else he didn't like to think about. One day, while Kimchi and Broderick were visiting Kwesi with Creatura's siblings, Creatura has chimmed brightly. Creatura and Kwesi, go out. Where would you like to go? Kimchi asked. Creatura, go river, it said. Okay, let's all go together, Broderick said, rising up. 3 umbrellas were soon up as the company strolled casually to the river. All of Mama's creations flew playfully, chasing after each other, but never outside the shade of the umbrellas. Creatura, on the other hand, sat silently on Kwesi's shoulder, eagerly looking out for the river throughout the walk to the river bank. Creatura died by the river bank that sunny windless day, as the group chattered about this and that, oblivious of its passage.